Hello everyone, my name is Karthik. Today I would like present about Masood case who are caught by police officers. Whether the issues are without having an arrest warrant against him, police officers arrested Masood. The rules: an unlawful restriction of a person's personal liberty or freedom of movement is referred to as false imprisonment in common law. The police officers forcefully pulled Masood away, handcuffed, and kicked him into a van. They kept him at a detention center for 5 days. It is to be noted that there is no necessary in a false imprisonment case to prove that a person used physical violence or laid hands on another person. In order to establish a false arrest claim, the person detained must prove that the arrest is unlawful and such unlawful arrest resulted in injury. Masood was not produced before a magistrate during this period, and neither did the police as a warrant of arrest against him. An arresting officer who fails to take the arrested person before a court or magistrate within a reasonable time or without unnecessary delay is guilty of false imprisonment. Similarly, a generally false arrest is one of several means of committing false imprisonment. Officers who arrest a person without a warrant is liable for false imprisonment by detaining the prisoners a unreasonable time. By application provision, Masood made the decision to go on a hunger strike as a form of protest to establish that one has been falsely imprisoned. Elements need to be fulfilled. Firstly, the mental state of the defendant. Restraint must be applied conscientiously. The defendant must have had the intent to commit a conduct way that would immediately result in plaintiff detention. Secondly, the restraint must be a direct consequence of the defendant's act. False imprisonment is only punishable by those who directly bring about the confinement. Fal- False imprisonment does not occur when a restriction or imprisonment of someone occurs as a result of another action. Lastly, the restraint must be complete. False imprisonment does not include partial confinement or obstruction with a means of escape. The plaintiff cannot assert that his liberty has been restricted when there is a practical way out. Example of one of the cases according to Hassan Masoom and Oz against Mohammad Hadi Yaqub at 2018. The respondent in this instance was brought into a room. While he waited for his friend, he was stripped naked, attacked, and blinded. Despite the respondent's denial of involvement in the altercation, a remand order under Section 117 of the Criminal Procedure Code was obtained from the magistrate later that morning for the respondent to be detained for 7 days. The respondent was sent to jail. When it was discovered that the respondent had injuries, he was sent to the hospital. He was kept in for a week. The remand order was extended for an additional 7 days while the patient was hospitalized. In the famous case of Burt against Jones, A public path was obstructed due an enclosure erected by the defendants for the purpose of observing a boat race. To access the defendant's enclosure, the plaintiff entered it. The plaintiff was prevented by the defendants from entering the fence. They gave him they gave him the go-ahead to turn around and head in a different direction. The plaintiff resisted being asked to leave and remain in the enclosure for 30 minutes. For the crime of false confinement, the plaintiff brought legal action against the defendants. The assertion was denied. According to the court, the defendant did nothing to substantially impede the plaintiff's freedom of movement. The plaintiff was free to leave the enclosure and use any other path he desired to reach his destination. As a result, they cannot be accused of being held unlawfully. So, as a, my conclusion, Masood not liable for false imprisonment. He satisfied the requirements for the constraint, which make it a false imprisonment. I suggested Masood that he should file a claim for damages for